Greetings, greetings. Hola, everyone. Greetings, greetings. Hey, Jess. Hey, Carson. So today's topic is electric frequency being before food being. And what do I mean by that? Well, your cells don't eat food. Now, there's chemical combustion that creates certain electrical resonance in the body that gives the cells what they give. But before all that, my thing is, why not get to the main point, the electricity? Now, I am really tough on time here. We're going to also go into the Arc of Gabriel. Everyone knows about the Ark of the Covenant, but not many people know about the Arc of Gabriel. So if there is religious constructs that want to call it New Age, electric healing is not New Age. If you want to talk about New Age, this phone is New Age. Your clothes are New Age. And we can go on and on and on. But my main focus is getting to the point, even utilizing biblical references, because when we have certain people within certain religions only focus on a one-track mind, they can't understand, and they should really read their own religious text, because it talks about crystals, it talks about even meditation, it talks about all the above that they call quote-unquote New Age. It's just how you read it, right? And anyone from any different side can literally pinpoint everyone and see how it's all just contradiction. So why don't we just focus on the benefits and the growth of all of mankind? That's what I personally do. So let's tap into electric frequency being before being a food being. What do I mean by that? Well, back in the day, there used to be electric therapy. And I made a post on Facebook saying food wars are, they're funny to me, because you can literally take a hamburger from McDonald's and pump 528 hertz into it using scalar, and it'll be the most healthiest burger you've ever had. I'm not suggesting that, especially anyone with a scalar. Please don't do that. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Obviously, you want to stick to, I'm not here to fight any diet whatsoever, but obviously you want to stick to the most electrical, organic foods you can get. And what do I mean by that? Well, the foods that still has the most biophotonic resonance. So, of course, you don't want any preservatives. You want the most organic. And that goes across all types of diet. I like to say live it, but all livities in that sense, all livities, because the more organic it is, no matter if it's meat, plant, whatever, the more organic it is, the more likelihood it has more biophotons, which is the electrical energy resonance into it. That's why I find food wars hilarious, because people are still fighting over food wars, but you see certain diets, quote unquote, all have their flaws. And what's missing? What's really missing? Well, you can say the mental side of meditation is their mental health. Everyone's looking at their physical health and stuff, but what about the mental health? Are you taking care of that? Because that is holistic healing. It's not just, the food this. There's only a few herbalists that follow me that is finally stepping up to the plate and infusing some of their herbs, some of their whatever products they make with scalar, or at least tell people about the power of breathing, and some of them lead them to me. So it's so important to look at the whole spectrum, because just because you have this plant and you take this herb, you're good. It doesn't work like that. There's so many factors that goes over everyone's head because we deal with frequencies on a day-to-day basis, whether you realize it or not. The cars that go by you, they're metal resonance, and you're hearing that. And beyond hearing it, it sends vibratory resonance into your body, such and such. Same thing applies with scalar. So I'm going to go into electric medicine, and all these people you're about to hear from Bob Peck, how he's going to name every single one you can easily Google that have proven this, not by herbal means or chemical means, but by electric means. Because the electricity is what the body needs even before the herb, even before this and that. And breath is one of the main focal points of utilizing that electricity. So, oh, it should be playing by now. Oh, great. Here we go. Oh, boy. Choose different asset. All right, maybe if we can go to the Arc of Gabriel.
A legend has it that the angel Gabriel gave the prophet Muhammad an ark similar to the Ark of the Covenant. This ark was called the Arc of Gabriel. Please examine. Do you see this actually occurring, or is the Arc of Gabriel?
1,000 medical doctors.
Oh.
You haven't heard it.
Did you guys hear that? All right, here we go. I think it was popping up, so I think it takes time to pop up. So let's try again. Let's try again. Give me a moment. Apologies. All right.
1,000 medical doctors. You haven't heard anything about it in this country. Why? It cuts into the doctor's income. It decimates the money that you slaves have been giving to the pharmaceutical houses
so
since 1910,
who are actually there,
when the Flexner report offered to decertify doctors who used electromedicine. But what happened? A few years ago, Niels Bjornström from Sweden, the radiologist who was curing breast cancer with 2 little needles and a 9-volt power supply. How many have heard about Nordstrom's? Good. He was big in this country. He was hosted by the Archaeus Society, the World Research. Suddenly he forgot how to speak English when I stood up and said, Dr. Nordstrom, don't you realize that when you put a positively charged electrode needle and a negatively charged into a human breast cancer, that you're causing electrolysis and that oxygen comes off of one electrode and hydrogen off of the other? And what do you think is curing these women? Why are you getting international publicity? Large magazine articles on your discovery. Don't you know that this was a standard treatment for breast cancer in 1905? I've got the textbooks. I have a collection of old medical electronic textbooks where all of this has been done since 107 years ago, and your doctor hasn't told you one goddamn thing about it.
Disregard the voice.
You're enslaved to giving him your money. That's my opinion. Sue me. Well, in Germany, they know that ozone, O3, nascent oxygen, is the most powerful detoxification system known to man. And that when you put ozone in water and drink it, you're going to get well, because 99% of the germs, pathogens, bacteria that are known are anaerobic.
And a lot of people are misinformed to think that ozone is quote unquote bad, right? But sorry about the voice not linking up. But at least you got the main point. And you can actually go research all those doctors he said on your own, and they will all come conclusive that electric medicine, even before taking herbs, even before taking this and that, We are electric beings first before even being food beings. We are electric beings first before even being food beings. Your cell does not feed off of food. Your cells feed off the combustion of what's happening with your food and your body, and thus creating some electricity here and there. But why not, if we look at all our ancient ancestors and why they barely talk about food at certain points, especially the more you go back into the first civilization as we know, and you look at their ancient texts, they were mostly playing with electric equipment, so to speak, electric healing equipment, should I say. They even had rods going from the ground, going into the back of the head, going straight to the pineal. Okay? They were playing with more of that than even talking about food. So whenever I see people talking about, oh, our ancestors hunted this and that, they came after our ancestors, even before that all hunting stuff. Because you could say we lost consciousness in a sense, you fell from grace in a sense, or you can even blame the destruction that took place and wiped out almost all of humanity in a sense. And that's where we lost that knowledge, and that's what they came into the whole hunting thing and let's gather food and meat and blah blah blah. Well, in hindsight, think about it. How much knowledge, how much time, how much IQ power it took to create the pyramids. And I'm not talking about the Giza pyramids. I'm talking about all the pyramids all over the world that has perfect harmony. And you would think that some lasers, and especially in Ethiopia, I forgot what that cross is called. If anybody knows the name of that cross, type it in the chat. But seriously, how much IQ power you think it took to create something so powerfully symmetrical? You think they cared all day about eating and hunting? So how did they make time for that? How did they make time to increase their knowledge, beyond knowledge, but just connection to Earth and harmonizing with Earth, communicating with Earth's resonance to learn about the sacred geometric resonance of healing in general? Why did they create certain parts within some of these architect places that harmonizes with certain frequencies? Frequencies is the real food. It's not the physical food. It's the frequency of the food. It's the frequencies that's embedded in the food. Like I said, you can take someone that has a neck brace, and I've been doing it with somebody. You have a neck brace because she has nerve damage and she was in a car accident. You can take that neck brace, put it onto the scaler, and pump inflammation, cell regeneration, all those things into the scaler, embed it, and then she puts it on and she's infusing with that frequency. That's what scalar does. Scalar goes beyond the aspect of frequency. Scalar is the body, you can say it's the embodiment, and it's a type of body that holds all the frequencies gel together, and it's easier for our body to absorb because it can even go through walls just like Wi-Fi, but at a deeper resonance. And our body, it's more digestible to the body in a sense, since especially when you use square waves through different amplifications. And if the body takes on that. So you can do clothes, you can do water, all the above in that sense. So going back to electric frequency being before food being, let's look at this. How your emotions release certain chemicals in your body, correct? So if I'm a very sad person and I'm talking to myself in a negative, even before negative, let's even dive into it, a degrading manner. So a lot of people view negative and positive in so many different ranges, right? So let's go right to it, in a degrading manner. And not just to myself. If I'm talking to other people in that sense, I'm somewhat talking to myself because their body is feeling what's coming out of my resonance, and my mirror neurons is going to start picking up. That's why they say people who talk down on other people, this and that, it's like you're doing it to yourself, no matter how you look at it. So, you're talking to yourself in a sense, always. No matter how you look at it, you're doing it. No matter how you're looking at it, you are somewhat talking to yourself in that mirror neurons range. So they're just projecting, right? And that's why it's so important to focus on, I just say growth in general. Focus on growth in all aspects of your life. When you focus on that, there's no limit to possibilities of what you could have imagined. So tapping back into the topic, electric frequencies, right? So what do fruits, what do herbs, what do even the meat, if some people still eat meat here, even the meat, what do they need to, for our body to even read it and stuff of that nature? It needs electrical resonance. No matter how small, no matter how dead it is, especially if it's fried, no matter how dead it is, it still somewhat has biophotonic resonance, no matter how small it is. But that biophotonic resonance is what the body is using to read even before the chemical combustion. When you smell the food, what's that? You're not taking the physical food and eating it, right? When you inhale, there's electrical components that you're inhaling into the food. So again, that's why food wars are so hilarious to me, because you can take the most dead food, put it onto the scaler, and pump so many different frequencies into it. And we can even go into how the sadhus, we can even go into how when they had a bunch of active lingams, even in India, utilizing, that's where Tesla got his idea for the Tesla coil. A lot of people don't know that, but he got it from the lingam. If you look at certain scriptures and look how the lingam has the arc, it's literally arcing electricity coming off the lingam. And they dance around it. They do certain rituals around it. The whole aspect of the food aspect came way later. The more far back you go, the more you start seeing, wait, is that an arc coming? Is that an electrical arc coming from this stone? And they were utilizing it, and they barely talked about food at the Mesopotamian. Yeah, the lingam. 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 Because the more you remove mucus, the more you take an electrical breath. And why I say electrical breath, because I'm at the point where I can take an electrical breath and I hear the waves of motion in my inner ear, and it's like, what does that sound like to you? It's electrical. We're all electric beings before food beings. Electricity is the first food. Oxygen is the first food, even before we take the dense food. So some of these places where there's active lingams, I forgot where this temple is specifically, but when you go there, it's not heat you're feeling. No. It's actually the resonance of the lingam that's creating a massive field. And some of these places, if you look specifically at the architecture, and just like I played the other day, that's old ass temple is generating electricity out of thin air. What do you think they use it for? What sounds easier to you? Generating electric energy, harnessing it, feeding the body in a sense, and working on other things than going out hunting fruits, hunting animals, playing blah, 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 and actually leaving them alone in that sense to create the majestic things that we have yet to like scratch our heads and understand. Even till this day, they're still finding things about about the pyramids. Every year, there is something new that they find about the pyramids, because we're still trying to understand it. We still don't even know how it's made. You can say it's gravitational. Some people even say laser cut, because there is actually some prints within the pyramids actually that's more laser cut than the outside. And if you go to Coral Castle here in Florida, you know, they tried fixing a rotating door. And the guy who built Coral Castle, they called him a whack because he was talking about gravitational energy, harnessing it, and how he learned how the pyramids were built and utilizing that information to create Coral Castle. Coral Castle is one of the beautiful wonders of the world. I'm going to bring my scalar there and see what happens. Last time I went to the Everglades with the scalar, a whole bunch of birds start coming in because maybe they could see the scalar field in itself and the beautiful harmonious resonance we were creating. But let's even go deep into the Bible real quick and talk about the Arc of Gabriel. A lot of people talk about the Ark of the Covenant, and some people will argue that it's not even a physical thing. Well, let's talk about the Ark of the Gabriel. Arc of Gabriel is very interesting, and pay close attention to what he talks about cells.
A legend has it that the angel Gabriel gave the prophet Muhammad an ark similar to the Ark of the Covenant. This ark was called the Arc of Gabriel. Please examine. Do you see this actually occurring, or is the Arc of Gabriel just a legend?
We have a small device here. It would be like that. You would call it a fusion device, so to speak, as opposed to fission. And as such, like that of the Ark of the Covenant, it was of the same. Based on gold, it would be beaten, and or gold, it would be in its crystalline effect, you'll say, or as a crystal or pristine accumulation. As such, necessary a legend, but also an implement that would have some effect as to altering matter. The purpose here would be to those who would seek ascension, those that would attempt to affect the cells of the human body, that there would be such a device, such that would have the same effect as to vibrations that would bring down walls or knock over pillars, as to those same influences that would cause rock to float in the air. This would be of the same, let us say, device. It does not seem to be large. It does not seem to be radiating energy, but it has the effect of influencing the atomic structure of the body to the point that if it would be maintained, the atoms of the body would dissipate, similar to that you would call spontaneous combustion in human forms. The integrity of the cells in maintaining a fixed density or accumulation or attachment would be broken, and the cells would dissipate or separate and disintegrate, you'll see. This device would be similar, affecting or having the same effect. Now, for the positive effect, it would have a constructive and building effect upon the body. To the adverse or misuse of it, it would have the effect as we have given. The body would simply blow apart, so to speak, or separate, like bubbles separating in water.
Sounds like
One
rainbow
big
body.
bubble, when it goes through the water, shrinks and becomes several small bubbles. To give you a very crude idea of what would be the effect here. Very crude indeed. However, there does seem to be this not given as a present, but give it by inspiration or an inventive thought, you might say, an inspiration of information from the divine, like any inventor who has a dream about an idea, an invention that could change the world. Likewise, this would be the presentation or the information given to the prophet Jose. Direction.
Thank you. So where is the Ark of Gabriel today?
Look to Mecca, and you would find a remnant of it, Jose. Direction.
That was in the Bible. That came from the Bible. And not the watered down Bible. I'm talking about before they even watered it down. Before they even watered it down. Before they even watered it down. Yeah, the Arc of Gabriel. If you talk to Bible scholars about it, only a few know about it. Because, like I said, you have to go to certain texts before they watered it down. Keyword, watered it down. The New James Version Bible, all those other Bibles, that is like mainstream, doesn't have the full story. There's some, just like Book of Enoch. Why are you taking Book of Enoch out of the Bible? Like, why are you doing that? Can you speak on the importance of being grounded with your barefoot while dealing with these electrical energies? Yeah, even grounding helps you protect from EMF radiation, also helps produce vitamin D in the body. A lot of people don't know that. But now you know, it's not just from the sun, just from walking barefoot. The electrical resonance in your body when you go grounding creates vitamin D in the body. Go look it up. So where do I get my vitamin? I don't need to take no supplements. I'm walking barefoot every day, at least 1 hour a day or more. At least 1 hour a day. At least 1 hour a day. Gabriel, an angel of God, according to the Quran. Even the Quran talks about Gabriel. See, it's all these texts. They're somewhat all saying the same thing, in my humble opinion. They're all saying the same thing. They're all resonating, and it's a beautiful thing when you can get out a one-tracked mind, and finally piece certain puzzles together and see what really fits. Oh, they said the same thing here. All right, this is fitting. All right, they said the same thing here. This is fitting. This is fitting. From the Tao to the Bible to the Quran, on and on and on. To the Kabbalah, it goes. They're all somewhat connected. Yes, walking barefoot creates vitamin D in the body. Oh, look, you're creating your own vitamin D? Wait. You're creating your own vitamin D? You're creating your own vitamin D when you walk barefoot. Yes. So tell you what, if I can find the frequency, you don't even need to find the frequency. Let me, I'm not even going to get into that example, but this is a great book, The Frequency of Rifing. So this whole entire book is actually implanted into the laptop when you get the scaler. Not only that, but it has like 4 other research databases that can tell you the frequency of your cellular regeneration. Tell you the frequency of stimulating stem cells in the body. That's how deep. I'm like, wait a minute. The herbs is just one part. Food is just one part. But if we can go more in depth into the cells doing this and this and that, you can give the cells what they need versus what you want. Well, at that point, you can literally eat what you want. I'm not going into that. That'll be a total different live. And there's this one bodybuilder that utilizes frequencies. I've been working with him, and hey, he eats whatever he wants to eat, and he just makes it a point to at least get 2 hours of frequency medicine into his body, because if he don't, he definitely feels it. And we tested that. He feels it. So it goes to show you, when you look at all these ancient texts and you dive way deeper as much as you can, oh, what came before this civilization? All right, what came before that civilization? Keep on going, and you'll start to see more electrical than food or herbs or any of that. Because it was until certain people started using frequency medicine, it actually gave them way more benefits and way more deeper detoxes with the herbs, with the fasting, with the breath work, all the above. Because no matter how you look at it, nature itself has all types of healing frequencies. And nature today is not the same as nature yesterday, unfortunately. Because we live on a planet that no matter how far you go out into nature, you can only hear, listen, we should be at the point where I walk outside in the middle of the city and I should go next to a tree, not even next to a tree, and you're supposed to hear a pitch coming from the tree. That, once upon a time, that was the case. No matter how far you go out in nature, you can hear it at a subliminal level, yes, but it can be 10 times more. And the fact that you're still only hearing it at a subliminal level shows you, no matter how far you go out into nature, you're still being affected from Joe Smo in the cities. Joe Smo's Wi-Fi tower. Wi-Fi tower, but Joe Smo's cell tower. You're still being affected. No matter how far you go out into nature, you're still being affected. And that's why technologies like the scalar, technologies like the coils, we're going to have these, I'm going to talk about these soon, where you can like put a magnet and you'll feel the magnet like pulsating, and that pulsation, that vibratory resonance, and so this is something you can carry around with you, even on a chain, and you'll still feel the pulsations, and that pulsations vibrates into your body in terms of frequencies and so forth and so on. That'll be out soon. Yeah, so any questions before I head into the sauna? When we look at depictions of gods in human form, I can't imagine them eating quote-unquote food like pure power. Exactly. Oh, you're understanding. That's why even down to the Mayans, even down to when I went to the Bronze Museum, these people were barefoot. Looking at these statues, these people were barefoot. They had gold, like real gold, like solid gold. Even down to the Mayans. Why were they so infatuated with metal? Right? If you're talking about the ancestors, a lot of people like to quickly go, oh, look, our ancestors, they're like hunting. They do this, they do that. Bro, it goes, what about before that? What about before that, when they didn't even have to do that much, and they were resonating with certain frequencies, going interdimensionally? Even go back to the Dogon tribe that knew about where the stars were. The starting point of the ancestors, if you will. They're the ones that taught all those tribal people you quickly go to and be like, oh, they hunted, they did this. This is what we should really be doing, this and that. They got watered down information in a sense. And the Dogon people, even clearly, they talk about it a lot. The Dogon council that are still alive today still talk about that. They still talk about interdimensional travel. Why are the Dogons? The Dogons, the Adinkra symbols in general, is the only thing in human existence that is the closest to what scientists found out, I think it's been about 10 years ago, 6 years ago, about binary code. The only thing they could find in human existence to replicate what they found in binary code is Adinkra symbols from the African tribes. Isn't that? Wait a minute. All right. And if you look at the Adinkra symbols and how they're made, go just search up Adinkra symbols for yourself and how they're made. It all looks like it all looks like interstellar stuff, like you would see on like Star Trek or something. Like you're looking at a board, and it would be like interdimensional buttons and stuff of that nature. So it just goes to show you, you know, frequency medicine, electric medicine, like I showed you with all those doctors. You can go research. They were so in tune with that before the quote unquote food medicine. I felt like the food medicine started to come heavy when they lost all the knowledge about the electrical medicine. Because if you have the electrical medicine and you can do what I just described, you can take an old hamburger, put it on the scaler, pump all the healing frequencies known to man, shift the molecular structure in atoms, and it'll be the most healthiest hamburger or degrading food, quote unquote, in that category of how you perceive it to be the most healthiest, right? That's why food wars are so funny to me at this point. You know, I'm not in the sense of trying to convert people into this sense. I'm telling everyone how beneficial breath is in all types of diet you take, because the easier you can breathe and the more efficiently you breathe, the easier you can absorb whatever damn food you eat in terms of the biophotonic resonance, and you'll have deeper healing, no matter in that sense. That's why that if you go way down on my testimonial, maybe I'll repost it, but the guy with the vitamin D deficiency, he didn't even go out in the sun that much because he was still working here and there. The only thing he changed, not even his diet, the only thing he changed was his breathing. And when he did all the blood tests and all those stuff, he had higher vitamin D readings than he ever had in his whole entire life. That's wild. Breath. But beyond that, but diving into that, the intestines, when you look at the MRI of you breathing, you'll see electrical combustions in your intestines. Just we're electric beings. Like I said, we're electric beings before food beings. You know, you can show me all the gladiators, this and that, and if you dive deeper into certain histories of certain gladiator stories, they'll tell you they weren't mainly used for penetrating, stabbing everybody, but it was mainly used for blocking off electrical impulses and electric guns and stuff of that nature. This goes way deep, fam. Yeah, the Dogons had extreme knowledge of planetary beings too. Exactly. Even in certain quote unquote alien communities, they will always, like, the people who no will say that the Dogons had the most advanced technology, and that technology, they say, is the spiritual technology. And if you have the spiritual technology, then all is possible. Yeah, because when you're breathing correctly and your gut is efficiently running, your gut is not just storage for poop. Your gut can finally create the electrical resonance it needs to digest, if you will, not just digest, but harmonize with the inhale, the exhale, the electrical components when you inhale and exhale. Some of that electrical resonance goes straight to the gut. The stomach, that's your third lung. The stomach is your third lung. So when the stomach is full of electricity, in a sense, and then it sends that tube, you can just follow the tube, follow all those tubes in the body. That's all electrical wiring in the body, if you will. And just like I said, go look up the MRI and see how the intestines move and create those impulses back and forth, going all the way up, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There's a reason why you poop and your body doesn't use all that food. What is it really utilizing? What does it really need? It's not the quote unquote nutrients. It's the biophotonic resonance of whatever you're eating. Again, we are electric beings, and even if you want to bring religion into this, I'll tell you how the saints, there are still structures in the world today, as we speak. I forgot what they call them, but there's still structures today where they have the skulls of all the saints, and they're in these organ pipes, the organ pipes, right? Because one of the stories I've read, and I've even talked to scholars. I love talking to scholars of any religion. It's beautiful because I can finally do some relations and nitpick certain things that connects everyone. That's why I like, if you can find the harmony, that's the key. If you can find the harmony within certain resonances of religion, knowledge, such and such, follow that. Because everything is not one-sided, right? So there are certain places till this day that has the skulls in these churches, beautifully made. Not beautifully made, but like real skulls. And they're all gold-plated, and the way they look, they even have the flower of life in the middle of the church, and you could tell they were used for. Getting it started. I gotta hop in the sauna soon. They were used for electrical resonance, and they use it for either sound, and so much more. But the saints themselves were utilizing devices. They were utilizing devices. And these were people who, quote unquote, reincarnated, and they would get their old bodies and they would actually display it in certain cases and stuff of that nature. But like I said, before we look at this ancestor, this ancestor hunted this. Oh, this ancestor was vegan, this and that. Let's look at what about the other ancestors because all those ancestors that you can say that this tribe, that tribe did this. Oh, this monk monastery did this. Even the monk monasteries, they'll tell you all that is all this watered down knowledge from, hey, who came before this ancestors though? Who came before that ancestors though? Most of them were talking about electric resonance. And that makes way more sense because when you look at all these ancient structures of how they're built, even in India, in the intricate way they're built, if they were lit up today, all the way down to I don't even know how, I think it's way more than 4,000 plus years old, especially the lingam. If you look at certain texts with the lingam, with the arc emanating from the lingam, just made sense. They barely talk about food. They barely talk about food in these writings, barely. And it's when you go down the history, that's when they start talking about food. And shoot, I think food is one of the main cases of what maybe the war, that corruption, such and such, tribes fighting over tribes. It wasn't like that before. Even when you look at the Kushites, the main pillars of the Americas, so to speak, the Kushites of the main foundation of what you know as Egyptians or even Africans, the Kushites, we're talking about electrical resonance and healing, even down to the Kushites. So like I said, I laugh and I chuckle whenever I see food wars. And the main thing that's missing, especially if the soil of today is not the same as the soil of yesterday, where are we heading? Where are we heading? I think we're heading to the point of remembering, because the more we can get to the point where we don't have to eat as much, still build muscle, still thrive, the point we can get there, and the more we leave Earth alone, in a sense, and letting her create that energetic resonance and keeping that balance, like all these temples, all these pyramids, what they were mainly used for, they were all intentionally based on focusing on keeping the balance of Earth. So again, that makes even more sense, especially when all of them are aligned all over Earth. I'm not talking about just Egypt, but all over Earth. And there's even certain tribes till this day that is still aligned all over Earth, especially. All right, Tyler, I'm coming. Especially if you look at if you look at the Assanis, and everyone's like, oh, where'd the Assanis go? They just disappeared. How did they know where to go when the drought was happening, when all the water was being just dissipating from up north in Colorado? How do they know to go down, follow the path where all the pyramids, all those specific geometric architecture is lined up on a specific energetic grid? How did they know? They just follow the energy. They follow the energy, and that's how in tuned they were. That's how in tune they were. So, thank you all for sharing the breath. I'm going to dive into this a lot more, and definitely check out in the previous part, if you're just hopping on here, check out what I was playing earlier. You can go research all those doctors who literally proved, even before the herbal medicine, about electrical medicine. And there was once upon a time where electric medicine was a thing, but then Big Pharma stepped in and be like, hey, you're not making that much money, so let's get the people sick and let's utilize this instead. Oops. So definitely check that out. If you found value in this, please share. Thank you all for sharing the breath.